Chapter 26. En garde! Marian raised the badminton racket, her makeshift sword, and dropped to a crouch. Lady Cluck circled slowly, her eyes never leaving her pupils. Suddenly, Cluck darted forwards, slashing with her own racket. Marian faded to the side, easily dodging the blow. Then, without a pause, she leapt in for the kill, stabbing Cluck in the side. "And I win!" she crowed, raising her arms in triumph. "Not so fast," Cluck replied, lifting her racket to rest at the base of Marian's neck. "You only graze me. That's not enough to take someone down. You must disarm them completely or run the risk of them getting in another go at you." Marian groaned, dropping her racket. "Every time I think I have you," she said with a laugh. "You were close," Cluck said, patting her on the shoulder. "And that's more than many can say. It could take years to become truly battle-ready. But you're getting the basics down. The rest will come in time." "I know," Marian said. "I appreciate all this, you know." "Appreciate what?" someone said. The two of them whirled around, surprised to find Prince John walking into the castle gardens. Marian stifled a groan. At least he hadn't seen them fighting. "I'm teaching her badminton," Cluck told the prince as he approached. She held up her racket and smiled guilelessly at the prince. "Would you like to join us?" Marian added sweetly. "Me?" Prince John's eyes widened. His mouth curled into a grin. "You want me to play with you?" "Of course," Marian assured him. "Don't we, Cluck?" "Well, I don't know," the chicken replied, pretending to be nervous. "I hear he's very good, and we're just women. Not very sporty, are we, lass?" Marian shook her head solemnly. "Not very sporty at all," she agreed. "Not like you, your majesty." Prince John beamed. He ran over to grab another racket. "Oh, don't worry, ladies," he said. "I'll take it easy on you. You know my mother taught me this game." "Ah, but she was a lovely lioness. So brave, so bold," he sighed, looking longingly over at the apple tree. "She was indeed lovely," Marian said. "Truly the best lioness could be." "You must miss her dreadfully." "I do," he said. "It's not the same without her. Thank goodness Sir Hiss came along, or else I would be so very lonely. Why, he's the only friend I have in the world now that dear old Mummy has gone to the angels." "Where did Sir Hiss come from, anyway?" Marian asked, seeing an opening. "How did he become your advisor? Does he have experience in the role?" "Of course he does." "Really? Where did he work before?" Cluck asked. Prince John thought for a moment, then scratched his head. "I don't remember, actually, but I'm sure he told me at one point." "And he went to school for this? He studied politics?" Marian added. I assume so," Prince John replied, wrinkling his brow. "I wouldn't have hired him otherwise. I'm a very good judge of character, you know." He puffed out his chest. "When did you hire him?" Cluck queried. "Well," Prince John was frowning hard. "I'm not sure I remember. It was like one day he was there, as if he'd always been there." He stroked his chin. "Huh, that's strange." "That is strange," Marian said, glancing over at Cluck. "So he just showed up out of nowhere, asked to be your advisor, dissolved the king's council, and started making the rules?" "He doesn't make the rules," Prince John protested, his head jerking up. "I do. I'm the king, after all." He stared at Marian suspiciously. "Why would you say he makes the rules?" Marian winced. Perhaps she'd gone too far. "My mistake," she said. "I'm sure he just offers wise advice, and it's completely up to you whether you take it or not." "Exactly," Prince John declared. "I'm the one in charge. I'm the one who... How many times have I told you not to wander off like that?" Prince John leapt in alarm at the sound of the scolding voice. Marian turned to see Sir Hiss slithering into the garden. When she looked back at Prince John, the lion was hanging his head, looking ashamed. "Sorry, Sir Hiss," he said meekly. "It won't happen again." Marian shot a look at Cluck. The chicken rolled her eyes. The one in charge indeed. Meanwhile, the snake was looking wearily from one of them to the next. What are you lot up to? He asked. You look thick as thieves. Cluck laughed airily. Just a simple game of badminton between friends. She beamed at Sir Hiss. Prince John was about to show us how it's done. He's such an accomplished player. We're bound to learn so much from him. Prince John nodded eagerly. They're not very sporty, he assured Sir Hiss. I see, the snake said. Marion could tell he was still suspicious. In any case, I'm afraid your little lesson will have to wait. You're needed for much more important matters. The sheriff has just arrived back at the castle with his report. Has he learned the identity of the fox who robbed me? Prince John asked, all thoughts of sports apparently forgotten at the news. Sir Hiss flicked his tongue. He has. Marion fought the urge to glance at Lady Cluck. Oh no, had someone seen them during their deliveries and reported their identities to the sheriff? Well, then how could that be possible? They had been disguised. How would anyone recognize? A horrifying thought struck her. No, that couldn't be. They couldn't have thought. Well, then bring him here, the lion demanded. What are you waiting for? My birthday? Christmas? Why are you always so useless, Hiss? Sir Hiss glanced at the ladies, but Prince John just waved him off. Anything he has to say to me can be said in front of Maid Marian, he stated. She's practically family. Sir Hiss looked like he wanted to argue this, but instead nodded stiffly and retreated to retrieve the sheriff. Once he was gone, Prince John turned to Marian and Cluck, giving them an apologetic look. Sorry, he said. This is what they never tell you about being king. It's always work, work, work. Why, sometimes I barely have time for my second afternoon nap. Marian opened her mouth to reply, but at that moment the sheriff entered the garden, accompanied by Sir Hiss. He was holding a large bag, presumably containing the stolen gold. Stolen back, she thought with annoyance. All that work for nothing. It took me all day and a lot of effort, but you'll be pleased to know I got almost all of it back, the sheriff said, proudly bowing to the prince and handing over the bag. There's still a piece or two missing, but Prince John tossed the bag aside as if it meant nothing. Never mind that, he said impatiently. I want to know about our thief. Have you found him out or haven't you? The sheriff looked at the discarded bag, his shoulders slumping a little, but he cleared his throat and said, I have, sire. The animals gave our bandit up easily enough. Once I used proper persuasion. He puffed out his chest and Marian winced a little. She wondered what this persuasion might have entailed. So who is it? Prince John demanded. Don't keep me in suspense. Who is our thief? The sheriff smiled smugly. Why, it's none other than that dastardly traitor, Robin of Locksley, or as the villagers like to call him, Robin Hood.